Welcome back to Meets Wisdom, your sanctuary for self-development and authentic growth. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a topic that many of you have requested: how to recognize and respond to emotional manipulation in relationships using the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Before we begin, if you find value in these insights, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment sharing which of these principles resonated most with you. Your engagement helps this community grow, and I read every comment. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, honesty, and genuine connection. Yet sometimes we find ourselves entangled with someone who uses emotional games to maintain control. Today's video isn't about winning a power struggle. It's about reclaiming your dignity, emotional sovereignty, and peace of mind through Stoic principles. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control others' actions, we have complete authority over our responses. This wisdom, developed over 2,000 years ago, remains remarkably relevant today. Let's explore 7 powerful Stoic-inspired strategies to maintain your emotional integrity when facing relationship games. Number 1, develop unwavering self-knowledge. Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods. Ancient maxim embraced by Stoics. The foundation of any Stoic practice is profound self-awareness. When someone plays games with your emotions, they're exploiting gaps in your self-knowledge, your insecurities, fears, and unhealed wounds. Begin by examining your values. What qualities do you truly value in a relationship? What boundaries are non-negotiable for your well-being? What emotional triggers from your past might someone be exploiting? A woman playing games can only manipulate you to the extent that you remain unaware of your emotional landscape. When you know precisely what you stand for and what you will not tolerate, manipulation attempts become immediately apparent. Take time each day for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what emotions am I experiencing? Where do they originate? Are my reactions proportional to the situation? Remember, as viewers of Meets Wisdom, you're committing to a higher standard of self-awareness. This isn't just about relationship strategies. It's about becoming the architect of your emotional world. Number 2, practice emotional detachment. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus. The Stoics mastered the art of caring deeply without becoming emotionally dependent. This balance is crucial when dealing with someone playing emotional games. When you notice manipulative behaviors, sudden withdrawals of affection, jealousy-inducing tactics, or emotional hot and cold patterns, practice stepping back mentally. Observe the situation as if watching a movie rather than being its protagonist. This doesn't mean becoming emotionally unavailable or cold. Rather, it means maintaining enough emotional independence that you can see the game for what it is without being swept away by reactivity. Practical exercise. When you sense manipulation, take 3 deep breaths and silently repeat, "This behavior reveals her character, not my worth. I choose how I respond." Many in our audience have shared how this simple practice has transformed their relationships. One viewer commented, "After practicing emotional detachment for 3 months, I finally saw the manipulation patterns that had been happening for years. I maintained my composure, and mysteriously, the game stopped." If you're finding this valuable, hit that like button to help others discover these transformative principles. Number 3, set and enforce clear boundaries. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Stoics understood that personal freedom requires clear boundaries. When someone plays games with your heart, they're testing your boundaries, seeing how far they can push before you reassert your dignity. Define your relationship boundaries explicitly. How do you expect to be communicated with? What behaviors will you not tolerate? How much emotional inconsistency is acceptable before you reconsider the relationship? Once established, enforce these boundaries consistently. If you've made it clear that disappearing for days without communication is unacceptable, be prepared to implement consequences when it happens. Remember that boundaries aren't threats or ultimatums. They're statements of self-respect. Communicate them calmly. I've noticed you often use the silent treatment when upset. I value open communication, even during disagreements. If you need space, I respect that. But complete withdrawal without explanation doesn't work for me in a relationship. Your boundaries will often be tested. The strength of your response defines whether the games continue or cease. In the comments, I'd love to hear about a boundary you've successfully established in your relationships. Your experience might help another member of our community. Number 4. Master the art of strategic silence. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Attributed to Epictetus, the Stoics recognize the power of strategic silence. When someone plays emotional games, they often seek to provoke a reaction, any reaction, to confirm their power over your emotional state. By cultivating the discipline of silence, you reclaim that power. This doesn't mean giving someone the silent treatment, which would be playing games yourself. Instead, it means recognizing when engagement fuels manipulation and choosing temporary disengagement. For example, if she creates dramatic situations to test your devotion, responding with urgent reassurance reinforces the behavior. Instead, acknowledge the situation calmly. I notice you're upset. I'm here when you'd like to discuss it directly. Then, return to your activities. This approach often creates a pattern interrupt. The expected emotional reward of seeing you distressed doesn't materialize, reducing the incentive for future games. One viewer shared, "After learning about strategic silence, I stopped rushing to fix every manufactured crisis. Within weeks, the emotional emergencies miraculously disappeared." Number 5, cultivate multiple sources of fulfillment. Depend on yourself alone and your own resources. Use your own legs to lift yourself. Seneca. A central tenet of Stoicism is self-sufficiency. When your happiness depends entirely on one relationship, you become vulnerable to manipulation. The solution isn't withdrawing from relationship investment, but developing a diversified portfolio of meaningful activities and connections. Strengthen friendships outside your romantic relationship. Pursue goals and hobbies that engage your talents. Maintain physical practices that ground you in your body. Develop a spiritual or philosophical practice that connects you to something larger than yourself. When you derive fulfillment from multiple sources, manipulative tactics lose their power. Your partner's withdrawal doesn't devastate you because your emotional well-being doesn't rest solely in her hands. This approach transforms your relationship dynamic. Rather than clinging from need, you choose to be together from a position of strength and mutual enhancement. If you're implementing this strategy, comment below with one fulfilling activity you've added to your life recently. Number 6, embrace the principle of amor fati, love of fate. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy. Epictetus. The Stoic concept of amor fati, loving whatever happens, provides powerful emotional resilience when facing relationship games. This doesn't mean passively accepting mistreatment. Rather, it means recognizing that discovering someone's true character, even through their manipulative behavior, serves your long-term well-being. When you discover manipulative patterns, reframe your perspective. This revealing of character is happening for me, not to me. It provides valuable information for my life decisions. This mindset shifts you from victim to student. Every manipulative episode becomes a lesson that strengthens your discernment for future relationships. As a practical exercise when facing manipulation, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How might this difficult experience be serving my growth? This perspective transforms even painful relationship experiences into stepping stones toward greater wisdom, a core value for our Meets Wisdom community. Number 7, practice the art of walking away. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Marcus Aurelius. Perhaps the most powerful Stoic teaching for dealing with relationship games is knowing when to walk away. The Stoics believed in accepting what cannot be changed and focusing energy on what can be. Some people are deeply committed to manipulation as a relationship strategy. Despite your boundaries, self-knowledge, and direct communication, they may continue playing games. In such cases, walking away becomes an act of self-respect. This decision isn't made from anger or punishment, but from a clear assessment that the relationship contradicts your core values. As Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Walking away requires courage, especially when emotional attachment is strong. But remember the Stoic truth. Attachment to what isn't good for you creates suffering. Many in our community have shared how walking away from manipulative relationships created space for genuine connections aligned with their values. Conclusion. These 7 Stoic-inspired strategies provide a roadmap for maintaining your dignity and emotional well-being when facing relationship games. They aren't about winning power struggles, but transcending them entirely. Remember that applying these principles requires practice. Begin with increased self-awareness, then gradually implement the other strategies as your emotional resilience grows. If you found value in these insights, please support our mission by subscribing to Meets Wisdom, hitting that like button, and sharing this video with someone who might benefit from these timeless principles. In the comments, I'd love to hear which strategy resonated most with you and how you plan to implement it in your relationships. Until next time, remember the words of Epictetus: "No man is free who is not master of himself."